Hello, in this video I'm going to look at why you won't get closure to help you understand the games that they play so that you can start to take the steps needed to claim back yourself, your power, and give yourself closure. I'm going to explain what closure is, why narcissists and other manipulators don't want you to have it. I'm going to talk about some of the common phrases that you might hear and how this affects you over time. And finally, I'll give you some tips that you can use to give yourself closure and save the sanity and create a new life. Hello and welcome to the Divorce Sanctuary. My name is Elizabeth Goddard, author of Finding Lily and the A to Z of Emotional Abuse. I'm here to remind you that love should be unconditional, divorcing emotionally is life-changing, and that you have a duty of care to yourself, and that should be your mantra. Each week I will discuss some of the terms you may hear along your journey, and I will help you understand and process what's happening inside you. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're returning, welcome back and thank you. Everything described in the video, you're going to find the links in the description box below. And I'm going to talk about why you won't get closure, but also look at what it is and how it feels, and more importantly, why you won't get it. Using some simple tools, you can start to claim back your power. So make sure you stay to the end, where I will share with you some tools. So this really comes down to two things, and that's power and control. And you might recognize you've experienced this throughout your life. I also want to cover mind games and why they do what they do. So at the heart of this topic is a very insecure, immature emotional abuser who has a damaged inner child with no soul. And it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling sorry for them, wanting to help them, to heal them. Whilst you're focused on them, you forget about yourself. And in the end, the one fighting for their life is actually you. You got no closure, so you're just left hanging. You might still be trying to find out answers, and you might still be trying to understand what happened. Relationship closure involves honest, healthy, non-judgmental communication that helps you let go. Nothing about this relationship was honest or healthy, and there's a reason that you won't get closure. Relationships break down for so many different reasons. Healthy people are able to acknowledge what isn't working. It can be painful, but closure is helpful in moving on for both parties. But this wasn't a healthy relationship. The emotional abuser won't give you the clean break you desperately need. They never allow closure. The ending of this relationship was painful. The abuser created a strong bond with you, and during the repeated love bombing stage, trauma bonding you. And when they've drained you of everything and you're no longer of use to them, they just walk away. There is not even a messy conclusion. You are not even allowed that. Instead, they leave their tendrils attached and you're left with so many questions. During the discard, they told you what you did wrong, and their explanation, if you got it, was blame shifting. You were believing this is all your fault. This bond is so strong and the withdrawal can be painful. You may look at ways of getting the relationship back to where it was at the start of the idealization stage, where you feel safe. You might have gone into a spiral of questioning what if and if only. You're trying to understand where you went wrong, replaying situations and conversations. If only you had done something differently or said something else, it wouldn't have ended. During the cycle of abuse, they played with your emotions, raising you up to dizzy heights that you may never have experienced before, seeing you, hearing you, listening to you. And then they started to nudge you, pushing you off the pedestal. And they helped you climb back up and then discard you. Temporarily at first, as they help you climb back up and allow you time to get comfortable before they do it again. And they repeat this process, sucking the life out of you, leaving you with nothing, a shell of your former self, unrecognizable, in any way. Each time you climbed up, you got given a dose of oxytocin, and like a good child, you got a pat on the head. Your reward center was happy. You did well. Just like the mentalist or an illusionist, 3, 2, 1, you're back under their control. And as you head towards the top again, where the air is thinner, you find it harder to think. And to keep in that safety, you take on the responsibility and you convince yourself this is your fault. You hadn't made time for them to focus on them. You completely wipe out all of the pain and the memory of them disappearing and discarding you. When the relationship ends, the surge of emotions is horrific and you can appear to have been driven crazy. And this serves the abuser well. Another form of supply from the people surrounding you. Whilst you're trying to understand what's really going on and crying out in pain, they watch on with tea and sympathy for the wrong person. They didn't hear the put downs and they didn't see the manipulation. They only see your reaction. They saw the amazing things that you did together, the amazing way you touched each other's lives and the amazing places that you visited. And then you might question if it is all your fault. Are you the fraud? Did you somehow create a persona that attracted them? And then this feeling of wanting to run away is your insecurity or your trust issues. Is it really nothing to do with the way they behave? Is this really from the relationship with John Smith who treated you really badly? Or perhaps you became a temptress, offering them everything when you were really broken. What you didn't understand was this was a game. This may have felt normal because up until this point they've taken you around the cycle of abuse with the idealization, and during the devaluation they told you continuously what was wrong with you. You've heard about your failings before and what you've been doing wrong. Strange, isn't it then, how they can be so honest in so many other areas, but at this point they aren't able to be generous and help you with the closure that you need. They've distorted your perception of reality over and over again. They gaslit you to make you think that you're the problem, and they gaslit you to get them out of trouble. Following the breakup of the relationship, there might have been periods of time where life seems peaceful and you can breathe again. And then these thoughts creep in. Perhaps you sense deep down that this isn't a discard, that they're coming back, and you start craving them. Your emotions are torn between the feelings of love and hate because you don't understand what happened and you try to get answers. You didn't create a persona. They spotted you and they went and worked to secure you. They projected out their damaged inner child as they know you couldn't resist it. It doesn't work on everyone. But then you aren't just anyone. Everything they did was a lie. And the process of cognitive dissonance is painful as you merge the truth with the lies they told you. You question if they ever loved you, if everything they told you was true. You start to question your life. And whilst you are waiting for an apology, waiting for closure, or waiting for the pain to go away, they've moved on. You were a target and they love to win. They love games. They created this relationship allowing you to believe that they were your soulmate. And they told you this repeatedly. They spotted something in you and they saw your broken, damaged parts, and they knew how to mirror them, and they knew what they could do and what they could get away with. It's as if they have a monitor that goes off when somebody is close to them and they run off after them, chasing the attention, collecting and filtering the information, like a walking Excel spreadsheet that contains a formula on what supply that this person will provide them. They can then tell what their worth is, if the effort is worth it, and if they would need to bump them up to their main source of supply because it's far superior to the one that they're actually getting at the moment. They create confusion, and this is deliberate. They create triangles of jealousy and they manufacture situations to play with your mind. They want to hurt you and to cause you pain. It makes them feel powerful. You were selected for a role, and when you no longer fit that, you're discarded. And this will be different from the smaller discards that where they disappear and then reappear, or they withhold attention and then they give it back. Those discards were designed to trap you, to anchor you into the relationship. If you fail at the role that you've been given, they seek to destroy you. They have wounds that they're desperately trying to heal, but they don't know how, and they never will. You to them were an elixir. So why don't you get closure? There are a few reasons. Firstly, they're the victim. It was your behaviour that caused the breakup of the relationship. The attention received from their friends and family, work colleagues, the person next to them on the train is more supply to them. Why would they want to give that up? Secondly, seeing you in pain is supplying them again with attention. They don't care if it's negative or positive, it's supply. Not giving you closure allows them power and control over you. Not giving you closure allows them to play the victim. Not giving you closure allows them to evade responsibility. Not giving you closure makes you feel like you're crazy and there's something wrong with you. For you, by not getting the closure you need, keeps you stuck. The rumination, going over the relationship, trying to understand what happened. If only you'd said something, if only you hadn't said something, maybe if you had done something, or maybe if you hadn't done something. They're still in your life, they're in your thoughts, your actions. They want to maintain a connection between you. You are an object to them. They can't let go, so they won't allow you to either. And if you're asking for closure, even in a non-verbal way, it gives them more supply. Perhaps you sense deep down that this isn't just discard. You've experienced discards before, they always came back. But this is a final one, and they aren't coming back this time. And you're going to start craving them. Your emotions are torn between the feelings of love and hate, and you don't understand what happened. And you're suffering with cognitive dissonance. Part of you knows that this was abusive, and the other part still hears the voices telling you this is all your fault. You might have to keep in contact with them. You may have children together, or they owe you money, or you're trying to get a divorce. They will use these circumstances to keep you in their life, to keep a connection. The money will be paid next month. They're waiting for a bonus or a lump sum of money to come through. They'll pay it over a few months. Oops, their car broke down. The cheque they've been waiting for bounced and they're sorting it out. Or they challenge what they owe you, asking you to break it down and to prove it. They need bank statements. They need to check their statements. And they use the same excuses with the paperwork for the divorce. They hadn't realised they needed to supply it. They're waiting for a response from their accountant, from their pension company. The paperwork went missing. They're waiting for a response from the bank. Perhaps it's possessions taking up space, purposely left, or when they arrive to collect them, they leave something behind. Or they have kept items belonging to you, causing you to contact them. This is done to keep the door open and to top them up with supply. They might try a smear campaign, leaving you feeling emotionally hurt, marked with repeated reminders of the relationship with them. They are compulsive liars. They know the pain they caused you. Your attention is proof of that. They need to show how powerful they are and to reinforce the amount of control they still have over you. Not getting closure can affect you over time. You get stuck replaying the relationship over and over again. You experience confusion, self-doubt, paranoia. You might experience fear or feel like you're losing your mind. You feel very vulnerable. By not getting closure, you might experience difficulty making decisions. You might experience feelings of guilt, not being good enough, and loneliness. By not having closure, you might not be able to reconcile the abuser's version of events over your reality. Getting closure in any relationship helps both parties to move on and draw a line and move forward, creating new futures with new partners if that's what they choose. Getting closure helps with the understanding of the role that you played and your now ex-partner played. Getting closure helps with healing any trauma that happened. Getting closure helps with acceptance of what happened and the reasons for it. And if you reach out to get closure, you may find yourself more confused with even more questions. They don't need closure and they don't want you to have it. They want to move on. They just don't want you to. By not giving you closure, they are able to bait you, waiting for you to react and sit back and watch. This was a game and they are the master manipulator. They walked away and you wondered what happened and why it hurts so much. This was the final discard, the painful one. They became sloppy and didn't cover their tracks because you're no longer of use. They drained everything from you. You're too easy. You had nothing left in the way of attention or finances. They had gained everything they needed. You have nothing to offer them. However, if they don't give you closure, you will always be of some value. They need supply. If you hang around believing they will come back, you're offering this to them. They see this as still having power and control over you. You might be angry and want justice. Again, you're a source of supply because you are showing them that if they reappeared, you would have them back. You might try and prove that you can live without them, even though you're hurting so painfully inside. Again, they know the damage they've done, and once again, they know the power and control they have over you. No closure is one of their games. And you might be waiting and wondering when the hoover will start. If you've told them or they know that you know who they are, it might not happen. If they see you as dangerous, they need to keep you as crazy as possible and also as far away from their new supply as possible. They can't risk someone not fully secured listening to you. Whilst you're waiting for an apology, waiting for closure, or waiting for the pain to go away, they have moved on. What if, instead of wondering what they're doing, what you did wrong, or if you'd said or done something differently, you could do the same? So take a deep breath. You do need to go no contact with them, and I know you don't want to for all sorts of reasons, but please do this for your own sanity. Write out your story, just for you, not to share the good stuff and the bad stuff. And with a different coloured pen, find the patterns. They will be different for everyone, but there is a pattern. It will be idealisation, devaluation, and discard. Take another deep breath. Find a breathing technique that works for you. So every time you experience cognitive dissonance, breathe and find your story. The pattern of the amazing person, where in your story do you have the contradiction? You have proof. Your mind has been programmed to think this is all your fault. Remember, love shouldn't hurt. If someone wants the best for you, they will be honest. They wouldn't trick you. They would allow you the closure you need as it gives them closure. Each time you experience cognitive dissonance, breathe and find your story. You hold two different thought patterns and these will start to merge and you will see who they are and your relationship for what it was. You might see the child they presented and you might see wounds that they have shown you that needed healing. It is not your job to heal anybody else. Your job is to heal yourself. Once you have managed to calm down the cognitive dissonance and you're able to understand this, breaking the trauma bond is easy. And as you're experiencing cognitive dissonance, you're also withdrawing from the chemical hormone hits that they got you addicted to. Again, breathing through this, make sure you come out of your head and you stay in your body, and this will help you overcome it. Everything is planned, remember that. They're expecting a reaction. They want to see the pain that you're in. Don't ignore the pain, acknowledge it and heal it. I hope you found this useful. If you'd like to find out more ways of working with me, all the details are in the description box below. I'm sending you loads and loads of love.